Amazing Plantz4mationz, and we have like quite an amazing Plantz4mation, as we call it, instead of transformation. And then also we've got even a different type of transformation that we might learn how to do today, which is financial freedom, which I know we are all seeking, even if we still have our 9 to 5 job, especially content creators. So this is going to be a big one. And I'm a raw food person, so it's one of my favorites here. Also, I just have a little bit here I'm going to read before we get started. Again, I'm excited to introduce our guest for today's live stream, Raw Kuba. Today's session is titled Quit Your Job and Transform Your Health. And I called it that because trained by millionaire mentor Ted Carr, who is amazing too, by the way, Raw Kuba is here to empower entrepreneurs like you to break free from the 9 to 5 grind, explore the world, and create a thriving online business that accompanies you on your global adventures. With 10 years of experience also in regenerative detoxification, Kuba will share his expertise on helping you look and feel 5 years younger, too. I'm excited to hear his journey, how he found the raw food diet, and how he's able to coach people to financial freedom, too. So, this is going to be exciting. Welcome. Did I say your name right?
Yeah, Cuba.
Kuba? Okay.
It's
Welcome in. Thank
it's
you for
like
joining
the
me.
country Cuba in Spanish. They say Cuba. That's how you say my name.
I did it right. Yay. I didn't say it probably
Yeah.
the wrong way. Or I think I did
My
it.
pleasure. And you go by JJ or Jen or both.
I go by both. Like a lot of people call me JJ, and but my real name is Jen. So there are some people who still call me Jen too. So either one that you feel comfortable with, I answer to both of them.
Okay, cool.
And
JJ
if I'm
sounds
in
cool.
trouble, it's Jennifer. But thank you so much. I appreciate you taking your time out. I know you're very busy, especially being a business owner, and also you have a lot of clients. So appreciate you taking a little bit of time. I've found out it's already like 8:30 and maybe past that now in the evening. So I appreciate you joining so late and squeezing us in here. Um,
It's my
and
pleasure. I've seen you interview a lot of my friends,
yeah.
like in the raw vegan world. So it's cool to like cross paths with you as well.
Yes, that's awesome. I like definitely have. I saw you on Matt's show. I think maybe I don't know if that was the first time. You know how you just see people and you don't really, know where, but you're definitely out there, which is
You
awesome.
probably saw me on Misfit Vegan's channel
That's what it was. Yes, that's where
because
I
I've been
even
on there
told
a
you
few
that, and then
times.
I forgot. I
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
was
yeah.
thinking
Cool.
about the very last one I saw, which was you on Matt from Raw Intuition,
On
but
Tuition.
it
And
was.
you know what's funny? I interviewed him for my channel on Saturday this past weekend.
I saw that. Yes, that's the one I was watching. Then it was the reverse. That's what it was because I was watching
Ah,
your
cool.
channel. I was binging your content, trying to figure out how to be a millionaire over here.
Ah,
Um,
cool, cool. Well, a lot of my content is from the raw food days, and I'm transitioning to like the business stuff now. So I'm in a like a transition phase, you could say.
that's amazing, and we'll get delved into that too. But just to start out, can you tell me how like this all began? Like, were you raised as like on healthy foods, or did you just find out about this later in life? Well, you don't look that old, so it wasn't too much later, thankfully, right?
Yes, well, the age thing is also thanks, I think, a lot to the living foods, because I might be older than you think. I'm curious what you think, but it started with, you see here, I have a picture of my father and my dad. It started about a decade ago, 10 years ago, when my dad got stomach and esophagus cancer. So,
Mm,
no, I grew up in a Polish household in Canada, Toronto, but growing up on standard like Polish diet with lots of meat, lots of dairy, lots of bread, a whole lot of bread, like bread all the time, breakfast, lunch, like packed packing sandwiches to school is just like a lot of bread and cheese and stuff.
same here.
Yeah, and since I remember like when I was 13, I got like plugged up sinuses. It still hasn't fully gone away, but like I remember having like a cold or like a bronchital cough, and then after that, just like having a cold that just like stayed with me. So it wasn't until my dad got sick with stomach and esophagus cancer. I started around that time. Coincidentally, my sister told me about a book called The Crazy Sexy Diet by Carr. And she was talking about how she had 12 tumors. The doctors told her she was going to die. And she ended up changing her diet to a plant-based diet, and she reversed everything, and she began to thrive and be healthier than she was before she was sick. So I was reading this book, and it was about basically explaining the science of an alkaline diet versus an acidic diet. So an alkaline diet being more based on plants and whole foods and fruits and vegetables, salads, juices, smoothies, all that stuff, whereas acidic is like meat, dairy, processed foods. So I was learning that while I was watching my dad in the hospital, terminally ill. And that lasted about 2.5 months before he passed. But in that time, I learned so much, and I started just incorporating more salads, more plant foods into my diet, and slowly taking out um, some of the meats, dairies, cutting back slowly over like a year or so. And then I remember going back to where I was studying in another part of Canada. And I'm like, all right, I have all this knowledge. I'm on my own. I'm going to try it out. And I went for 5 weeks, and I just did basically a pretty much raw food diet. And I was just doing like smoothies and fruits and salads. I got really skinny, but I also felt like this new energy and new happiness. Like I was like, whoa, there's something about this. Like this feels really right. And then I just got like more and more into it. So that's how I got into it. And then over the years, my journey's been all over the place. I went from like juice cleansing, fruit cleansing, all these kinds of stuff. And now I feel like I'm on a more stable, sustainable approach. I use cooked food, but I'm high raw. Like I like to use that title if I have to choose a title, high raw.
Right. Sometimes we
Yeah.
get caught up in those titles and can make it difficult on ourselves, right?
Yeah, but I learned to let go of all that stuff and not really care too much about fitting in any
Hmm.
categories. I just like to focus on raw foods, whole foods as much as possible, and have colorful, bright foods in my kitchen.
Hmm.
And always fruit based, because fruit just, I love greens, I love nuts, seeds, everything, but fruit just seems the most satisfying food that I can eat that will hydrate me and keep me energized and doesn't bog me down.
Hmm.
And the heavier foods I prefer like later in the day to like wind down with, like salad vibes. Like I have a salad here, and
Oh, we get to see it. Cool.
there's
That looks like my
chickpeas, which
salad.
is my weakness, you could say. That's the cooked food, because I just get it in a jar and I rinse it. But
Hmm.
everything else is just like greens, tomatoes, cucumber, avocado, raw spices, dulse, salt substitute with a bunch of herbs and seaweeds, and just a bunch of living plant foods. And then I got like hummus, which is also chickpea based. Chickpeas is like the one thing,
Well,
the
they're
main
actually
cook
pretty
thing.
healthy.
Yeah, but it's pretty healthy. And then I dip raw veggies in it. So I'm eating like broccoli and celery and carrots and cucumbers with the hummus. I think it's great. I think it's a great approach.
You know how
And then
many
all day I'm eating
nutrients you're
fruits.
getting more than others that have probably ate up to this point in the day where you are in their evening. They probably ate cheeseburger, breakfast, big breakfast, a bunch of meat and grease. So you are way
Yeah.
healthier. I think it's funny in our journey how we can start to feel like, oh my gosh, I ate beans that are
Yeah,
cooked.
yeah, yeah. I know
I'm
what you
I'm
mean.
so wrong, right? Like it's like, it's so funny where our level of health gets to a certain place and we start to like think that something that we thought was healthy 10 years ago, now we're like, oh, that's a medium healthy food, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's
I
funny
just wanted
actually.
to say real quick, thank you for joining everyone. We've got Tessa who's saying, hey, JJ. And we've got Carl. Hello, my faves. Cuba is the greatest of all time. Glad to catch this. Thank you, Carl. I appreciate you joining. And Muriel said, I love Ted Carr, another BC Canadian. Yeah, you're getting a lot of Canadian love here. Look at that.
Nice.
Carl said that he usually misses the show, so I'm glad you made it too. I always see you on the game show, where another place where I saw you. See, you're everywhere. That's where I on Matt's game show once. I love
Yeah,
hummus
yeah, yeah.
too. And hey, Dawn, happy that you're joining. J Video Reacts. I told her definitely join so she can take that video channel to $1 million platform. Love you too.
Awesome. That's your sister.
Huh?
Your
No,
sister, I'm guessing.
that's my wife. But my sister, she said she sent the
Hi.
notification. But Brooke, if you're here, make a comment.
Cool.
Um, and then so I think we stopped there when we were talking about how you found the food. And I'm so sorry to hear about your dad. I went through a similar situation. My grandmother, when I was like 19, passed away of lung cancer, and it's a terrible
Mm.
situation to see someone you love, suffering and not knowing what to do, and it didn't lead me it led me eventually to stop smoking, but it didn't lead me down that path. I didn't know about any of this until I was 42. And you mentioned your age, so what do you, yeah, are you like mid-20s?
Thank you. I really appreciate the compliment. I'm 37.
No way, there's no way that I would have said younger without the
That's
beard, right? So see what
if I
those raw
had no
foods
beard,
can
maybe
do.
17.
Yeah,
I'm just
right. It doesn't
Yeah,
work
but
for
the
me
thing
even
is,
though I don't have a beard.
I started this a decade ago, and when I started, pretty much like early on in my journey, I basically pretended I'm 10 years younger because I felt 10 years younger, and I felt like I was getting younger each day as opposed to getting older, which from my mid 20s, I did start feeling like I'm getting older. And then when I found this lifestyle at 27, I started getting younger. So it's like, it was amazing.
It is amazing. Like I feel younger where I am than I did in my 20s, or at least better. Like, when we're in our late 20s or 30s, I will say I started feeling like aches and pains and back pain. And then finding this was like nice, like I finally feel like my old self back in high
Yeah.
school again, and so I wanted to say, okay, so then you found the raw foods. You kind of went through, like me, a bunch of transitional journeys, and I always find my way back to raw, it seems, right? But it
Hmm.
sounds like you're on a more, level, like a way of eating, not so, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Dogmatic? Is that the word? I don't even know.
Yeah,
I
not
was trying to use a
dogmatic,
big word.
not so strict, not
Hmm.
so, I don't know.
Caught up in labels, kind of like,
Exactly.
and so when did you decide that you could help other people with their journey? Like, did that happen right away, or?
I think that naturally evolved because I had never saw myself as an influencer. I was following Fully Raw Christina, Dr. Doug Graham, Ted Carr back in the day, and Paul and Yulia Tarbath, and Kevin Cosmo from High Energy Parenting. All these people I was following, and I never saw myself doing what they're doing. I'm like, they're influencers, they're naturally sharing content about this lifestyle. I'm just learning how to do it while I was doing my studies and all that stuff. And I think it just naturally happened within if I started at 2014, I think 2016 I made my first pieces of content. And it just happened from influencers like challenging the audience to like put your content out there, share your story, share your journey.
Mhm.
And I'm like, they're doing it, and it just like naturally happened. And do you know Infinite Waters?
No, I don't.
Infinite Waters. His name is Ralph Smart, but he's known as Infinite Waters. He's a very popular YouTube channel.
Oh, cool. I'll have to check it out. I thought I knew everyone in the
Yeah,
raw.
he's not a raw foodist, but he appreciates the raw food
Hmm.
world, and he's really all about like consciousness and awakening and stuff like that. And he did this thing called this 7-day vegan challenge, and just encouraged us to promote our vegan journey with a 30-second video. And I took that and turned it into like a 7 days of 30 seconds videos, and it was so fun. And then next thing you know, I was just like making Snapchat. If anyone knows about the Snapchat
Yep.
days, some
I
people still
remember the
use it.
Snapchat days.
Yeah,
Everybody was into that for a minute.
I was just like Snapchatting. I was traveling with Europe with my friends 2016. I was just like showing how I was missioning to get my fruit while they were going to get breakfast and all this kind of stuff. And I was following Ted Carr on there, and I was really inspired by him, and I was kind of mimicking him a bit. So it just naturally happened. And next thing you know, my family thought, my mom especially thought I was crazy, especially when I went on juice for like 3 months. and got
Our
real skinny
families
and all
tend to
that.
do that. I think my mom still thinks I'm crazy, but she supports the endeavor. But I don't think she still understands how I eat, right?
My mom understands now and she supports it, but it took years. So it took years, like a lot of stuff happened in those years, like because it's not just a diet of physical, like how you feel in your body, but it ends up being like, I don't know, you start thinking differently, you start, oh, I didn't mean to thumbs up. You start setting boundaries, you start taking control of your life, you start realizing like it's like a spiritual thing too, because those raw foods like really like clear up all these blockages and open up these channels of energy. So in the spiritual world, we say chakras are like the energies flowing between the chakras. So it opens up your like third eye a bit. And I also got into like the meditation and all that. So I started living my life differently. So I went through some fallouts, you could say, with my mom. But then after, it always strengthened our relationship. So like it was just me becoming free, more and more free, I would say. So the point I was getting at is that it took years for my mom to finally be like, okay, I'm gonna try this out, because she started like following Polish YouTubers and stuff, and she did a 1 week juice cleanse with me, and
Wow.
she was just like every day she was feeling so much better. She was checking herself out in the mirror. She was looking at the scale go down, like so happy. And then a year later, I brought her to Spain. So I got to Spain 4 years ago. So that's around the time. So I'd say 5 years ago, my mom finally. So it took like from this decade when I started, it took 5 years for my mom to finally catch on. And
Nice.
now she's juicing more than me. She's like, she's
That's
really into it.
amazing.
She came to Spain and did a 21-day juice fast with me, and she was feeling like so good. I remember walking to the grocery store. You got to go uphill, and I remember her walking fine. I'm like, Mom, you always stop to catch your breath. You have to take a break, but here you're on juices and you're just going. She's like, yeah, man, like so much energy. She was like hiking mountains with me and all these things. So
Oh,
she
that's
finally realized like the raw foods and the juices, like I was onto something. Yes, I went too far. I was extreme, like whatever. But I'm like a scientist. I was learning. I was figuring this out. We're pioneers in this. We're not taught this stuff in school. So all this cleansing, all the stuff I was doing is like a learning. So
yeah.
my mama took what makes sense, and she doesn't go too far with it. And I think she lives a healthy, balanced lifestyle with it. So it's great. So that is really like helping my mom, and then naturally, like friends ask for help and questions, and then you start coaching a few people, and it just like naturally happened. I went to Robert Morris level 1, level 2 to become a detoxification specialist. So it just like evolved over the years as you get passionate about it.
I think that's
Yeah.
true. And welcome, Brooke. She said, I'm here. That's my sister. So thank you for joining. I'm so proud of
Hey,
her
Brooke.
for incorporating a lot more like fruits and vegetables in her diet. And it's very difficult when you're in a different world. Like I kind of live in my own little world where we buy our food here. We both eat similar vegan. But I know it's tough when you're in households that don't eat that way, or you're trying to do it when you're around other people or socially. Like she's a lot younger than me, so like being out with friends, it's hard to be different. So I appreciate her coming on and supporting the lives and everything. And eventually I've been vegan now 5 years. Like that gives me hope that her and my mom, not going all raw. I just eating more plant foods, I think, like to your point, is helpful. And I'm so happy to hear that about your mom. That's amazing. She was probably racing up the hills. Like if she had to race her friends at the same age, she'd probably win, right?
Yeah,
I'm
she
so
does
happy
go out
to
with her
hear
friends
that.
at the same age, and she's like dancing and stuff. Like, yo, you have so much energy. So she definitely stands out. But also my sisters as well. They started doing more juices and raw foods and smoothies, and they ask me questions sometimes. So it people catch on as long as you stick to it and you do what you know is right in your heart, like what's best for you. People will catch on and they'll see that it makes sense because we're eating the highest vibrational foods of the planet. So we're just bettering our lives, and then people will see that over time.
That's amazing. And Tessa said she misses the Snapchat days. And Muriel, sorry to hear about your dad. And also, Tessa said her mom doesn't get it. And Michelle said daily medication is essential, or meditation. No, I was like, wait, what? Medication. Meditation is essential. Um,
Meditation is the medication.
yes, I read that wrong. I'm so used to people talking about medication, right? Thank you, Michelle. That's a great point. And I noticed that leads a lot of people to that raw path too, like with yoga and things. When I guess we're all waiting to hear, and I know we got about a half hour. I don't want to keep you up all night. How did this turn into you becoming a business coach from this health style change or lifestyle change?
So it happened really magically from, like you mentioned, Ted Carr, my mentor. I met Ted at the Woodstock Fruit Festival. So I went to Woodstock Fruit Festival 2016, and we met there, and it was divine because we met over meditation. It was really cool. We were bunker mates, and I would just like, um, in the morning, I would start my day. Ted was not sleeping in the bunker. He just had his stuff all over the bed, and he was sleeping somewhere else. Like he was talking to someone, and so he was spending his night somewhere else. And he would come in the morning and like grab something from his stuff, and I would wake up to like Ted entering the cabin, and he would say like "Great Rising" or something nice, and then I would start my day. And then like I don't know, you know about the Woodstock Fruit Festival?
Yes, I would love one time to ever get there. One of these
You gotta go,
meetups.
yeah.
It's like it's just so cool. I'm like, if I have to save for a whole year and take my vacation, I got to get there one time.
That's what I did my first time. Because 2015, I think Fully Raw Christina mentioned it, and I didn't save up the money. I heard about it in May and August. I didn't save up the money, and I was so mad at myself. So then I spent the whole year just putting money away, like bit by bit, like paying off my tuition for the festival, like $20 here, $100 there, paying it off over the year, and I made it. I met Ted, and then after a full day of like jam-packed activities, there's kind of like a little break before dinner time where it'd be more like wind down, have dinner in the evening. And I would always check in my cabin and do a little meditation. And Ted would come in to like exchange something in his from his stuff. So I would be meditating, and so we couldn't talk, and he would always like say some nice word like eternal bliss or something. And then one day he caught me before I started, so we got to talk, and he's like, "All right, let's meditate together. 7 minutes." We meditated. We became friends since then. The next year we got closer. I was doing freestyle rapping. He was filming me. You could check that on his channel if you look up.
Nice.
I think it's like
I love
if you
rapping.
look freestyle rapping on Ted Carr's channel, you'll find it. And then yeah, we became close. And then one winter, I drove out from Toronto, where I'm from, to Miami. It's a couple of days of driving, and I was like, I met my friends from Miami Fruit, and I'm like, I'm gonna spend the winter in Miami just to like step up my raw game and be with like-minded community and all that. And Ted came down and we met. We went to the 10x Growth Conference by Grant Cardone. Met Ty Lopez. No, not Ty Lopez. Ty Lopez was there. We all these entrepreneurs, but we met Jesse Itzler, who's into fruit. He's a billionaire. And Ted launched his business because he was a health coach for years and selling ebooks, doing all the online business stuff. People kept asking him like, "How do you make money online? How do you make money online?" So then he started teaching people how to do that. And then I got on with him. I was just helping him on his webinars, like make sure there's no trolls and stuff. And then I bought his program, and then I was like learning all this stuff about setting up websites, funnels, and putting out content and all these things. And then I came to Spain, and Ted was basically evolving with his business and his team, and he asked me to be a coach, and he trained me, and he launched this like program. Now it's called VIP Academy, but it's went through many different names. Where we basically spend 2 days and set up people's entire business. So
Wow.
that's basically how it went. And now I've been doing that for almost 3 years now with Ted, and we've been growing, and it's been getting like better and better, and yeah, it's pretty incredible.
I will say too, because when I originally heard you and Misfit Vegan, Jeanette, you were talking about how you were holding each other, I think it was accountable. and it
Yeah,
was
we're
about
accountability partners.
beginning her business and everything and how you were helping her with that. And I was like, that's so interesting. I never thought about it. But, like you said, that if you're, trying to do something out, like you don't know where to begin usually, whether it's starting to detox or raw food or vegan, it's like for other things we, have someone that'll coach us. And I never thought about it until I started watching your content, and like I like learned so much just from the free content, little things that I never thought of. And Ted with his video about I think I forget what it was called, about making $1. It's like he shared that on the free group the other day. Like, sometimes it's harder for him to teach people to make their first dollar than
Yeah,
to
yeah,
get 5,000 or whatever. And I'm like, that was like his like, what do you call it? Like his free info is so powerful that it made me want to do more. And yours is the same. Like when you give the tips, it's like, okay, if he knows, if I could learn this much in 5 minutes of a video, there's got to be something. And I actually set up a call with one of your team. I forget, his name started with an A, but he was really good.
Aman.
Yes. And
Yeah,
in like 20 minutes, he basically was able to like outline a good path for me. And wherever your financial, status is at the time, it's really important to just at least get on that call, because it's like they'll guide you to whether right now it's, maybe the free program, or maybe it's the $100 program or whatever. It's like, it's so, powerful. Like there's different levels. And sometimes we don't get on calls because I'm always thinking, I don't have $10,000 to give someone, to help me out. And I'm like, it's so important that you don't know how you're going to get from point A to point B. So I recommend that you do, join the program.
yeah,
Um,
because you basically start where you're at, and there's always a path to go from where you are.
and it
And
was,
whether
it's
that's like joining our biggest program, joining our paid community, or just our free community, like wherever you are, there's a path for you, and then you could take steps from there, and then level up, make your first dollar, you know, and then get to the next level and the next level.
I
But
think
it's about taking action and learning from the people who are already doing it. It's very important.
definitely. And like you said, in the vegan world, we get so passionate that it becomes like all we want to do, and other things don't align with it. Or, raw foods or plant foods. When you start to see that people are healing themselves, that people, you watch people change, and you see also people that are sick or not feeling good, and you want to put the information out there, or you see myths. It's like there's a lot of passion in here. And I love what you said about going online and just starting it, because also your sometimes job doesn't also now align with your new lifestyle, or you know what I mean. And this is what you want to do full time, which is where, like, a lot of us get to, it becomes a passion. And for you to be able to help people take their passion to, online, content is the way with everything. But you have to start somewhere, right? And that's
Exactly. Like
amazing.
while you're working a job, you can start this on the side, like start sharing your passion and doing it on the side and building it. You know, it's not about like just quitting your job today and launching online business. It's like
Right.
launch it now while you're at your job, and have a plan to grow that so that you can leave your job, you know?
That makes a lot of sense. What is a tip that you would say to someone who's at the level where they're putting out a little bit of content and they just don't know really what to do next? What would you recommend? What path they should go? Like if it is something they want to pursue full content creation.
Well, definitely like keep doing it, because you get better with, like, the more you put out, the better you'll get over time. But study the people who are producing content. Study the influencers. Study the people who are where you want to be. So like whatever you're passionate about, whether it's raw foods or any other niche, like look at the people who are already successful in that niche and mimic what they're doing. Mimic the kind of videos that they're doing. You know, because with content creation, it's important to be able to hook people into your content.
Mhm.
And then it's also important to give value. Like you were saying, you found me, Ted, we're giving out so much value for free.
Mhm.
So you have to give value so people actually want to listen to you and they build a relationship with you, they trust you. And then you can always have a call to action to join your coaching program or get your ebook, whatever it is. But you have to give that value for free. So with content, that's a place where you can share that value. So I would keep making that content and learn from people who are already successful. And you could join communities. There's so many communities. Like you mentioned, our community, we have the free community called Contempreneurship. You can always join that and connect with other like-minded content creators who are basically leveling up their business, and then you can learn from each other, learn from us, and um, depends on depends where you're at. In our paid community, we have calls that you can come on and get content reviewed and all that stuff. But if you're talking about for free, join communities who are doing it, learn from the people who are doing it, and keep doing it. You'll just get better with time.
That's amazing. That's great advice, I think, and don't be afraid to, to make that move to the next level, even if you think no one's watching, because somebody could always be clicking, and that's why, like, it Don said it's the same with day trading. You have to learn to make the pennies before you can make the dollars. Yeah, that's true. And I also heard, I think it was you, or maybe it was Ted, or maybe it's a quote from wherever it said, like, your net worth is determined by your network, something like that. I found that so interesting because, like you were talking about, just being around other people doing it sometimes, can
Definitely.
really make a difference because you're hearing the talk about it, you're seeing their success, and being in that community, I think, is really helpful to get you to the next level too, and see what you can do next, because sometimes we don't know, we get stuck at like a plateau, whether it's our diet or business, I think.
Exactly. That's why, yeah, with business, like I'm saying, there's all these online communities. Like I told you, me and Ted went to the 10X Growth Conference. So, like a conference full of entrepreneurs, focus on that. But then when it comes to diet, I mentioned the Woodstock Fruit Festival. It's like going to a festival where there's all these like minded people. And it's so empowering. Like, look where it brought me to today, like working with Ted, accountability partner with Jeanette from Mr. Vegan. I also met her at the Woodstock Fruit Festival. So it's like going to a fruit festival for health and diet led me to like a whole business venture. Like when people collaborate there, like it's so empowering. You realize like anything is possible, and it's people who are basically bringing the best out of you, supporting each other, and you're like you come from the festival with like these ideas, these plans. But then if you're back home with your the people that you grew up with, they might not always understand and they might not support you in it. They might be worried about like safety. So it's safer to just like keep a regular job and not take risks. But then you go to the festival or you go to like an entrepreneurial conference and people are like, take risks, like do something new, try something different, like go out your comfort zone, and you just grow. And then you get to next levels over time. So it's so important to connect with community and like-minded people for sure.
That's amazing. And, Brooke, if you're still listening in, I wanted to say that she has that personality, and she definitely could begin an online, business, or not even business at first, but she's great with connecting with people and making content. And, don't be afraid to just do it and get started. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think I definitely work from the heart, not for the money, just because that's what's making it so hard to find how to make a dollar, because I wanted to do it, out of love. And you realize at some point, I think entrepreneurs too have that, especially if you're doing something that you're passionate about, is difficult. And I think that's why I love your, community, because you guys are doing it from the heart. You can tell you're really interested in helping people, especially if you don't charge to even get them started on the right foot, and you need a little push, or you need a little help sometimes, whether it's getting healthy, and we're all not coming from the same, financial place, or at the same place where we have something, terrible going on with our health, and we need to get, raw right away, or we've already lost our job and we need to get a business, we've got a savings. Like, you can catch people at the right time that have a lot of money, but I think first they need somewhere to like some guidance. So I think that's really cool. And do you work with like everyone in business, or is it geared towards like for this type of niche, I guess you would say? Is it for vegans
We
or?
work with everyone now. We started with just vegans,
Mhm.
and we were called Vegan Creators, and we did vegan business in a weekend was our main program, but we've expanded and now we help like everyone and all types of entrepreneurs. Like
Uh,
we obviously um don't encourage like people doing meat business or like killing
yeah.
animals, but if they have other interests, other businesses, like we still support them. If they're not vegan themselves, we still support them in their business.
That's wonderful. Yeah, because and who knows, like I probably may have found you through like because I obviously was into the raw world, which is where I found you, and then to find that you also have a business that helps people with creating a vegan business. It's like sometimes you don't know where you're going to lead people. You may end up coaching someone that you could transform their health too. And do you still do that as well, or are you just like, do you still do the detoxification and health coaching, or have you moved right now to
No,
people?
I'm really just focused on working with Ted and the team and just business. Like health stuff, I'll promote it in my content, but if I get health people interested in health, I'll send them to maybe like one of our clients even. Like I'll send them to someone else
Mm-hmm.
because there's so many. Like I said, we work with everyone, but a lot of people are in the raw vegan world or in the health world because like they resonate with Ted and us. A lot of us are into the raw food. So I've coached several people who are doing health coaching businesses. So I'll refer people to one of the coaches or one of my friends who are doing health coaching if it's for the health stuff these days.
Oh, that's amazing. I love it. And having a network doesn't hurt like that either. If, someone needs, something else that you can't offer, it's great. And then on the other hand, if someone needs to be, your offer, it's cool to have a network of people that can refer to each other. So I love that.
Yeah.
And
One of the things is that I want to recommend in terms of like entrepreneurship and the business side of things, one of the things is you have to get rid of distractions in a sense like you have to really focus. The more you can focus on one area, the better. So if you try to do too many things, um, it's kind of a distraction and it's hard to progress one area when you're trying to do multiple things. So that's why I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do the health coaching anymore. In Mallorca here in Spain, I was selling fresh juices, and then I'm like, that's also taking me away from the business with Ted. I'm not gonna do that anymore. I'm just gonna go all in with Ted.
mhm.
So I've been just like clearing out more and more and more, and getting more and more focus on what we're doing with the team, and just diving more into that as much as possible.
And is it important like that? I feel like is so important because, if you're too, I guess, have too many things on your plate or you're into too many things, people, even your clients, will get confused at what your offer is probably, if you're trying to put out too much stuff at once, because we all need
Yeah,
like simplification, right? Like I tend to want to tell somebody everything all at once, instead of one thing at a time. But I love that. And distractions, like I assume you have to focus a lot of time on, like, it is a business. I think some of us think of content creation as something we do for fun, which is how it always starts out. But you find that the more you put into it or you take it seriously, does that help if we kind of look at it that way or schedule it?
yeah, for sure. You have to schedule it. Like that's been my weakness actually, because it's like it's so much easier to if you have a job or if you're working or even if I'm coaching clients, it's like, okay, I'm coaching a client, so you like it takes up the time in your calendar. But then
Hmm.
it's like doing my own work, doing my own content, like doing something for yourself. It's trickier, but as an entrepreneur, you really have to schedule time, block off time to work on your own stuff. You have to take your own business seriously. That's one thing that I've been working on myself, developing myself, but it's so important. And there are things that's why I have the accountability team with Jeanette and some other people, because every week we set business goals so that we're moving things forward. And it's like having that like-minded accountability gets us pushing all these projects forward. Like, so it's been amazing. Thanks to that team, I've built funnels, I've done all these goals, and Jeanette launched her books. She's been working on those books for like so long.
All right, that's amazing. I'm so happy for her.
And then there's other things, like there's a tool called focusmate.com, where you could book sessions with strangers online, but you basically meet up at a time that you want in the calendar, and you're like, hey, I'm working on writing my book. And then they're like, oh, I'm working on piano lessons, whatever it is. But it's a way to be accountable. So it's like having like what we call library hours. So we do this with our team sometimes too. We'll just have library hours where we meet up on Zoom, hang out, and everyone's working on their own projects. But then you're like accountable to getting work done in that time.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's so good for me because I tend to be trying to think about too much at once. And like, I'll start off, okay, I'm getting ready to write the newsletter I put together for work. I'll start literally at 9 a.m. And then a notification will come through that someone commented on one of my YouTube videos, and I'll make a comment. And then I'll say, I never did the short from this live stream. So I'll click on that. I'll start to make a short of that. And then something else will happen. And I'll be like, oh, you know what? Yeah, they comment on this Facebook post. I should reshare that. And then I might see like this really good, like quick thing that somebody's saying about their health, and I'll share that. And then it's like I'm all over on a tangent. So it's like you said, when I have to clock in and out of work, and it's not that I'm not working all day. I'm working on my content, but it's not unless I have obviously a live stream, like today where I have people in line to do it. Like you said, it's hard to hold yourself accountable to like blocks of time. Like from this time to this time, I'm not paying attention to anything else, only this project. So that's really good advice.
Yeah, a good way to do it is like when you're focused on that project, just put your phone in do not disturb so you don't get those notifications. Just for that
That's
block of
hard,
time.
isn't it? I definitely will try that. Yeah. I'm like, wait, that's a good idea. Why am I
You
worried
gotta
about
do it. Sometimes you just gotta do it. Like getting that notification an hour later is not gonna destroy your business.
that's true. That is
You know what I
very
mean? Like
true.
you can have a time of day where you like check your notifications, for example. And then like in that block you catch up on the YouTube notification, the Facebook notification. And then it's like so it's still more focused, you know?
That's a great idea. Thank you, Carl. That's definitely true. You can tell when people are passionate, and I can tell that Kuba is the same way too. Just very passionate about helping people. I think that's always when it's. I guess that would be also another measure of success when that's what you're doing it for, because you're not going to just want to stop because it's
All right,
something you're about.
what did Carl say?
He said that he agreed that J&J from the heart to the heart. Yeah, he can tell. I think when people are like pulling from their heart to produce content rather than just trying to produce content to make money, or you know what I mean? Because I think if someone just says I want to start an online business, but they're not necessarily like knowledgeable or passionate about it, it can come across as or you're asking for money too quickly. I think that's why it's important to at least find something you're interested in. Would you agree?
Yeah, and I actually talked about that recently in my content where this winter I did like I paid a social media manager, like an editor, which I love and I'll do again, but I really made these bunch of content for like business and I felt like it was too like okay, like business this, business that, but it wasn't so like it's kind of like robotic almost. I was like it wasn't didn't feel so authentic. So I made videos about how that it didn't feel right to just do those kind of videos. Like, yeah, that's great value to throw in, but like I want to do like real content too and sharing my journey and not just be like, this is how you do this business thing. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. And your person. I might have seen an
Like
Instagram post
show
where you
more of my
were dancing.
personality. Exactly. Yeah.
That I
So
like. You're
it's
like, this is me, and this is the real me. I think you put out something like that where it was like, hey,
oh,
this.
that was like this is who. Yeah, I want to do more content like that, like funny content too. You know, relate with people. instead of just being only business focused. So I was like, this is who you think you're emailing, and it's like me in a professional picture, and then like this is who you're actually emailing, and it's me like dancing and being a little wild.
That's funny. I love it. It was a cool video. And it let me know who your personality was. So, that it wasn't going to be like an interview where I couldn't make a joke or something, like you
Yeah,
have some
exactly.
people who
And
come on here, all business.
isn't that more fun? Isn't that like more real too?
Mm,
Like that's
it-
what people prefer, I think.
I think so too. They want to know, your personality and why they should listen or work with you. Some people are afraid to say. Sometimes I'll be like, "Yeah, I thought vegans were crazy." Not a lot of people say that when they are vegan, but it was the reality of it. I didn't know anything about this lifestyle. Personally, Tessa said I wouldn't start an online business because I'm not in the social media. I'm more of a private person. I think, you know, there's other ways of doing business though, am I right? Would you have to be somebody who is not private to start an online business, or is it basically what you focus on is content?
No, like we're actually putting more focus now into helping people launch a business without showing their face for introverts and stuff like that. Especially as COOs. So that means like CEO is someone who runs the business, like the face of the business, whereas the COO is the person behind the scenes who's building that business. So a lot of CEOs out there actually need COOs to build their business. So we're actually helping that kind of client as well. So it's like people who don't want to be on the face of content and all that. You can help someone else build their business. Basically, that's an option too. And then there's also like you can make content without showing your face. You can use clips and text, and there's so many different
Blogs
ways to
maybe
go about
too?
it. What?
Like blogging. I know a lot of people find
Yeah,
that.
there's blogging. There's so many paths online, so
Um,
you don't have to always show your face and like be in front of the camera. There's many different ways to go about it. But a
that's
lot of people need people to help them build their business behind the scenes.
That's a great point. I've got a car revving its engine out here, so I hope I didn't want it to be too loud, so I muted. Um, Muriel said, or vegans only eat grass. Yeah, I shared this post the other day of a person like eating grass. Like, because I literally thought when I hear plant based, I was like, people eating plants. Like, for some reason, when I first heard it, it sounded like somebody was munching around on like actual plants. But I'm like, then I realized it was all kinds of different foods that grow on
Yeah.
plants. But like you don't really put it together. So like maybe somebody else thinks that too. Like, yeah, that's great. She's sharing all this stuff about plants, but I'm not ready to eat them. Um,
I've never thought about that, but yeah, that makes sense.
that's a great question, Tessa. I'm glad you brought that up. That's even better than like I wouldn't have even thought to ask it, because it's so true. Thank you for sharing that info. It's getting a little bit later. I'll try to. I think that was the last question. Obviously, if you have one more to squeeze in, but I want to finish
Yeah,
first
sure.
of all by saying like thank you so much, for being here and for staying with us so late. And I wanted to ask if you could go over, like, again, just how they can contact you. And also if you have any, like, last minute advice or tip or anything you want to leave the world with. Well, I don't know if the world's
Yeah,
watching,
sure.
but all 400
The whole
people
world.
or whatever.
So yeah, for me, on YouTube and on Instagram, you can find me at Raw Kuba. So Raw RAW, Kuba is KUBA. I got if you're into like the raw thing, I have a 3 day cleanse guide, like a juice cleanse guide, which is great because I don't promote long cleanses these days, even though I've done them myself. I think 3 days is a really sustainable cleanse for anyone to try out. And the book, I have a free book about that, which gets you to prepare the week before, do the 3 day cleanse, transition off of it the couple days following with sample meal plans, juice meal plans, and recipes and stuff. So that would be at rawkuba.com/hello, I think.
The links are in the description, and I'll put them in the comments after, like, the main, like, once it uploads,
Okay,
I'll
great,
put them in
great.
there for you. It's right in the description if you guys want to go there after. Everything you sent me, I put in there if that was part
Okay,
of it.
great,
If
great.
not, just send it and I'll throw it in there, because I don't think anybody's writing. It's hard to write down websites anyway when they have like a slash. So like clicking it
Yeah, yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah. But if you go to rawkuba.com, you'll see all my links anyway. But the ebook about starting a business so you can make money while you're traveling, it's also going to be below. So that's another ebook I got there. So there's two ebooks, one for the health, one for the business. And you mentioned booking a call. If anyone wants to book a call, I can give you that link as well. It's also rawkuba.com/call. But yeah, I guess I could share that link in case anyone wants to book that call to talk with our team. But otherwise, Raw Kuba is where you'll find me. Feel free to reach out, send me a DM. We could talk and see how I can help you. And otherwise, you can follow my content. I'll be going a lot harder this summer, uh, going deeper into content and all that. So I look forward to that.
That's amazing. And I know you are in the transitional, like you said, state. And I think, that transforming, or as we call it here, plants forming, our life is so much about like where it starts. Sometimes starts with what we put in, to our body, and also transforming our life to a life we want, like you said, being able to travel and all that, those things that we think that's not for, that can't be for me, that's for somebody else who's successful already or rich or something. And I love that you actually give people a real, like, path to be able to get from where they are to that, because it's definitely, possible. I hear a lot of the stories and the people that you and your team help that didn't think they could do it, or didn't even think like that. I didn't think I'd be sitting here doing this. I hate being on camera, or at least I'm comfortable, a little more comfortable with it now. But like, I was even on my first couple of lives, I had the logo up there, but I still had, came on each week. I was just talking without the logo, but then it got more comfortable.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Cool.
so it's like it can be scary, but if you're passionate about it, definitely just put it out there, like he said, and just start making videos. And
Yeah,
um, you know,
exactly.
I
You asked
pre
me what I would share to the world, and I would say just that. Like, just take the first step, and then take this. It'll be so much easier to take the next step once you take the first step. So just start. Put out a video, put out some content, or do whatever you want to do, and then you'll just get better. Like that's a great story, JJ. That you started with the logo, and you were just talking, you were shy, and then you got more and more natural over time, and now you got this podcast, and you're interviewing all these people. Like it's really cool.
Thank you. And do you have people that ever come to you just in case that they don't know like what they want to talk about, but they just want to? Are you able to help them with that too, to kind of focus them in and narrow them down to?
Yeah, one of the big things we do is help people get clear on basically what they can help people with, and who they can help.
That's
So
amazing.
before they create their offer, they have to be clear on like what they'll help people with and who they'll help.
That is
And that
so
could be a different paths depending on your passion, depending on your own areas of transformation in life, and how you like basically on depends on everyone's life. It's different, right?
That's true. I think some of us don't realize that we are experts in so much things that we don't even think about. You know what I mean? That we might be helping people with along the way that we don't think is like something we could monetize or even like put out there. But it's like you have no idea who needs to hear it or wants to hear it. Even if you're just somebody who
Yeah,
like motivates other people or lifts up your friends all the time, go ahead and lift up more people. Like, put it online, because there's so many people now watching. And I love when I think it was Jeanette said that she let people know, especially young people, if they have a story to tell, it's important to go ahead and share it out there. And I know Ted mentioned the same thing, and now you've mentioned it. So everyone here, I know, thank you for joining. Muriel has a new page, Muriel in the Raw. I think you could probably definitely benefit from the content. Michelle, also Raw, literally, not literally. Wait a minute, it was something like that. Raw and naked. I always get her channel wrong, but not literally. That's what it was. Tessa, awesome questions. I love it. Brooke, my little sister, thank you for coming to support the stream. And Dawn, my wife, thank you for being here and your kind words about me working from the heart. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anyone. I got Michelle, Muriel, Tessa, Carl. Thank you for joining. I love seeing you here. I always see you on all the other streams, and I'm excited that you joined here. And hopefully, I didn't miss anyone. Did I miss someone right at the beginning? I think that's it. But if everybody else will be catching the replay again. I think I said Brooke, I love you. But thank you. And Carl said great subject. Yeah, that was awesome. You guys had great questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone who tuned in. It's so cool to do it live and interact with the audience. That was really fun.
Yes, I appreciate it. And I appreciate all the free knowledge you gave us. And please, everybody, go check out the description and click on his links. He is an awesome person. Like, just you can tell definitely from the heart, and also a great, fun person to be around. I can feel your energy. So thank you.
Awesome.
Oh wait, how do you guys do that? It must be like, I'm always trying to put hand signals. I think, is it a Mac or something that does that?
It's my iPhone, I guess.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm not on the phone. I gotta do that. That is so cool. We had hearts going up. The heart.
It's also really cool to connect with you, JJ. You're really cool as well, and you're doing awesome work. So keep it up.
Thank you, and thank you for all you do. Congratulations on your health transition and your new, like, not new, but on transitioning to the business world. I think you're awesome at that. So I look forward to all your content, and everyone will be watching. So thank you so much for joining.
My pleasure. It was really cool to connect. So much love, everyone.
Much love. Thank you to our veterans too. Happy Memorial Day. Thank you for your service. And thank you, everyone, for watching. And thank you, Kuba.